A lunatic sending bombs to prominent Democrats is not the same as protesters going up to Republican members of Congress, elected officials, and voicing their displeasure. And any television host, anybody who equates those two, is using a term that we call both sidesism. And it's a symptom of whataboutism. Dyze in your house. Exclusively on East Coast Radio.
If you don't know what Staten Island is, it's like New York's abortion that lived.
Representing Staten Island.
The Staten Island boys are no joke. Nobody likes me. Nobody likes me. That's okay, cause I don't like y'all anyway. And I don't like y'all anyway.
We got one goal for the next 2 months. One goal for 2018. And that's to take back the house. And we're only going to do that by going out and voting.
Representing Staten Island.
I mean, I know the civil rights movement didn't exactly end racism, but I thought we were further along from this.
Representing Staten Island.
It's a known fact that the reason I don't have any friends is solely because I'm a liberal who cares about other people and doesn't want to see brown people and women suffer at the hands of old, rich, white men who have been in power for way too long.
Representing Staten Island.
Nazis? Bad. Free press? Good. The most dangerous thing you can do is sit back and think that America has no chance of ever turning into an autocracy or some sort of authoritarian regime when you have a fascist regime on the rise right now, unchecked by Congress, which makes November the most important election of our lives.
Representing Staten Island.
J Porks, East Coast Radio, Dyze in your house, J Porks podcast. We must resist or we won't exist. Taking it back in November. East Coast Radio for the least heard voices.
Representing Staten Island.
Hey yo, who's in the house? Dyze in your house. What is the word, peeps? What goes on? We are just above 10 days out from the most important election of our lives, the midterms 2018. I am Jay Porks. Welcome to another action-packed edition of Dyze in your house. Here's what we do here at East Coast Radio for the least heard voices. What we do is we fight fascism on a daily basis. That's what we do. We've taken a podcast that used to be fun, and that's the J Porks podcast, which used to come to you on Mondays, now usually comes to you on Sundays. We've taken that podcast and we've morphed it into an all-out assault on the fascist regime that is rising in this nation. And there's so much happening so fast at such a dangerous and scary pace that we had to start our very own podcast channel called East Coast Radio for the least heard voices. And we had to start an additional podcast called Dyze in Your House, which comes to you every Friday. Comes to you in the evening. You might see this sometimes midnight on Friday. You might see this sometimes Wacky Wednesday edition. The point is that we're always here. Whenever something happens, we're here to break it down for you. Now, Dyze in Your House is usually the pre-show, the pro-show, the prelude to the J Porks podcast. The future, something might change with that. The Dyze in Your House might become the flagship. Stay tuned. Figure it out. We will find out together. here on Least Coast Radio for the least heard voices. The reason why I am coming to you today earlier than my normal Friday evening slot is because we have dangerous times right now. If you didn't hear my little clip at the open, prominent Democrats have been sent pipe bombs over the past couple of days. We had one over the weekend go to the house of George Soros, a prominent Democrat, a prominent progressive donor. We had a package go to the residence of the Clintons. We had a package go to the Obamas, which was intercepted. All of these packages were intercepted. None of them went off. We had one go to Eric Holder. We had one go to Maxine Waters. We had one go to Andrew Cuomo. We had one go to Robert De Niro's restaurant. What do all of these people have in common? Pardon me, we also had one go to CNN Center. And they literally had to evacuate while they were on the air. What do all of these things have in common? Well, these are all things that are victims of the hateful rhetoric that comes out of your Fuhrer, your fascist-in-chief. This is the exact rhetoric that comes from all of those rallies, night after night after night. He rails against the news, CNN, the media, rails against the Clintons, even though, hold on, let me look at my calendar, it's 2018 and Hillary Clinton is no longer a thing. Rails against the previous administration, buys into QAnon, George Soros conspiracy theories, says Maxine Waters has a low IQ, wishes that Jeff Sessions protected him like Eric Holder protected Obama. I'm using air quotes on protected because the Attorney General is not the private lawyer for the occupant of the Oval Office. The Attorney General is the top lawman in the country for America. America. So let's just talk about this for a second. This person is going to be caught because it was very sloppily done. From all indications from the press conferences I've been seeing today coming from New York City, where the NYPD is assisting with the federal government in this. From what we understand, these stamps were printed out at home. And they're all from the same printer. So the FBI should be able to track where these came from. Also, the Eric Holder package, I believe all of the packages, were sent from Debbie Wasserman Schultz. She used to run the DNC. She was the chair of the DNC. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the former chair of the DNC didn't try to kill prominent Democrats. So what do we have here? We have scare tactics. We have crazy people who are incited by the rhetoric of the orange wannabe despot cunt monkey every night at rallies. So you don't think one of those deplorables would say, I'm gonna help out and I'm gonna eliminate the deep state? You don't think that that's a thing? You think that it's just a random bomber and it just happened to be Dems? And let's call it what it is. He's the MAGA bomber. MAGA bomber. MAGA bomber. MAGA bomber. MAGA bomber. MAGA bomber. That's what he is. That's what he or she, I apologize. He, she, or non-binary MAGA bomber. Or MAGA bombette. or Maga non-binary bomber. Either way, this is a direct... This is what we're talking about. And by we, I mean people with brains. This is why you see prominent Republicans, not prominent Republicans, this is why you see Republican political operatives who used to work in like the Bush White House. That's why you see them on TV saying, you know, what is going on with my party? I'm getting out of my party. Because this is not the family values. This is the party of racism, the party of nationalism. There is no nationalism. Nationalism, okay, if you want to say that you're a patriot, that's cool. You can be patriots. You can be patriotic, and you could say, I believe in patriotism. But to say you don't believe in globalism, you believe in nationalism, call it what it is. You're a Nazi. You're a Klansman. That's what you are. And that's what those people, instead of wearing red hoods, instead of wearing white hoods, they're wearing red shirts. It's the same. These are Nazis. These are the same. You think one of those people from Charlottesville who killed Heather Heyer, you don't think that they would mind sending bombs to Democrats? You joking? What is this? What is America? What have you done to our country? Besides the dangerous policies enacted by this regime, anti-climate, anti-person of color, anti-woman, anti-choice, anti-healthcare, anti-transgender, anti-LGBTQ, anti-basically everything that Obama was for. Everything that creates a better vibe in our country, to lack of a better term. Everything about progression. Reversing it all. And you thought, and you would think that that was the most dangerous part. You thought the tweets and the rallies weren't, you know, they were just background noise. You thought, alright, I'm just not gonna watch that, and, you know, it doesn't matter, because it's, why would I watch that crap? I'm not saying watch it, but I'm saying that that stuff matters. That those people that fill those arenas that were supposed to be 100,000 seat arenas and actually become 8,000 seat arenas, the people that fill those arenas and chant to lock up political opponents are the same kind of people that would mail bombs to prominent Democrats. And the bombs not going off, not being successful, and being seemingly more traceable than they should be, indicates to me a certain anti-intellectualism in the bomber, hence MAGA bomber, because you have to be unintellectual and unintelligent to actually support a guy like Donald Trump. There's no rhyme or reason for this. You've had 2 years. You've had 2 years to watch the fundamental institutions of our country get destroyed. The FBI, Border Patrol, ICE. Listen, man. I'm sure that ICE, and listen, you'll see commercials, and it's important because we're just over 10 days out of the election. You're going to see commercials that Democrats want to abolish ICE. Maybe 5 Democrats have said that. One of them's Ocasio-Cortez. Like, I saw a commercial that Nancy Pelosi wants to abolish ICE. I don't think she does, and she never said that. Most Democrats probably want to reform ICE. It needs an undertaking, and it needs to not be about only kicking brown people out of this country. No one wants to abolish it. No one wants open borders completely. I mean, I don't understand what's going on in this country. That we have somebody sending bombs to top Democrats. What, they're afraid of all that progression that this country's making? Fear and loathing of the white man? The white man came to this country when there were people already here, Native Americans, and they raped and pillaged their land. Okay, we'll give you a pass on that, because you gave them reservations. Slavery. Oh, over now. Okay, civil rights movement. Okay, we're forgetting about all of the atrocities committed by the white man over the course of history. Every oppressive leader has been a white man. Everyone. Hitler, Stalin, Putin, Marx. I don't want to get into Marxist memes. So somebody that and then to get on the White House lawn or whatever it was, the Rose Garden, and to give a statement and say you condemn the attempted attacks on former government officials. You don't say their name? Say their name, you piece of garbage! I'm fed up with this country. I'm fed up with this. And this is why I don't have a job. Because I have to be available 24 hours a day to do whatever I can to fix this shit. Because I'm growing up in a country where I'm not going to have a fucking future. Because in 2040, the world is going to be, we're all going to be dead. Because man-made climate change. And you got Republicans out there denying science. It's disgusting. And Trump gets up there, and he says he condemns it, and then he says it's the media's fault. And then he says, look, I'm acting nice, I'm behaving. Are you joking? You need to pat yourself on the back to act like a human? What kind of world is this? This isn't the country that that your ancestors, that your grandparents, that your parents built for you. This is not that! This is a hateful place full of hateful people. And the only thing that can cleanse the hate is by building the electorate and getting all of the young people who are registered and eligible to vote out to vote. Over 100 million people will not vote in the midterm elections. That can't be a thing. This is your country, this is my country, and we have to take it back. To quote Joe Biden the other day, we need to take our country back. We will not be scared off by bomb threats and calls of a mob. We will not be frightened because these progressives don't run. These policies don't run. This love doesn't run. And anybody that gets on television, hi Mika Brzezinski, love your show, and by love I mean it's, the only option I have. Let me tell you something. And I respect everything you do for the Know Your Value movement, and women, and all that stuff, and, and your father was a great, American, a great person, did a lot of great things. But you looked into the television today, you looked into the camera, and you said the Democrats can't feed into this by going into restaurants and harassing members of the cabinet and Republicans and Republican lawmakers and leaders. That because bombs were sent, that doesn't mean that we should continue doing what we were doing. I'm sorry. Interrupting somebody's chicken cordon bleu at Le Cirque is not equivalent to trying to kill someone with a bomb in the mail. That's both sidesism. Well, these top Democrats got bombs sent to them in the mail and they were almost killed. Oh, well, Sarah Huckabee Sanders couldn't finish our meatloaf. It's trouble on both sides. No, there's not. It's a false equivalency. And it's not just Mika Brzezinski, but that's the show I watch. It's everybody. Now, yes, here's what Democrats shouldn't do. Because top Dems got bombs sent to them in the mail, there shouldn't be any people sending top Republicans bombs in the mail. That's the equivalency. And obviously, yes, of course we don't want to do that. We don't want violence. We're progressives. We don't want violence. We want progressive policies that are going to help people. They're going to help people around our country and in turn help the world. Because we're globalists. Yes, we are. Sorry to tell you that, but the internet has turned the world into one country. The other countries are not that far away anymore. They've gotten closer because of technology. And if we all work together, there are more good countries than bad countries. So if all the good countries get together and, like, you know, peacefully protect our planet and don't commit human rights violations and, you know, don't rape and pillage land and stuff like that and don't drill for oil, if we do that, we might be able to live past 2040. And you might have, your children and your grandchildren might have a good future. I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for you and your future. J Porks, Dyze in your house.
If you don't know what Staten Island is, it's like New York's abortion that lived.
Representing Staten Island.
These Staten Island boys are no joke.
Huh. J Porks here. And I know I've been a little busy on this East Coast radio stuff. Talking about resist, remove, and recreational. But I gotta tell you about one more thing. You should be a East Coast Radiohead. That's right. And you can become a East Coast Radiohead just by going to patreon.com/JPorks and check out the offers we have there. There's a low tier, a middle tier, and a high tier. All of those get you bonus content, exclusive personalized artwork, and even a chance to interact with me on a personal level over the phone. We could talk about what's going on in this podcast. We could talk about how we are going to flip these seats blue in November. And we are going to vote like this is our final election because it might be. Patreon.com/JPorks. Become a East Coast Radiohead and join the resistance.